Because when we see all of these things keep happening, people keep getting approval, building their houses, 15 years down the line, the house is demolished. The building approval has been given. These people have completed the building. They are living there. They are now paying land use charge, among other fees. And now we come and say, oh, they are in the right of way for System 1 drainages. At what point didn't any of these agencies who were supposed to do the checks before they build, while they were building, the agencies are supposed to do this? You see that there is no communication within this agency? That's what I want us to look at. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Tea Talk with Goodness Usman, your number one real estate talk show in Africa. Thanks to each and every one of you who keep coming back every Sunday 4 p.m. when we upload a new episode. Yes, so today we're going to go right into our topic for discussion. Now, this is an extension to what we discussed in the last episode, and of course, it also aligns with the current happenings in between. Now, this previous week, we just concluded some things happened, and then we're here to talk about it. So you need to sit down and relax and watch the video to the very end. However, I must say this, you must be ready to also engage in this conversation, because we're going to be throwing questions to you, our dear, amazing viewers, and most especially those of you that are investors in the Nigerian real estate market. So please let us know what your views are on the subject matter, which is quite sensitive, by the way. Now, let's quickly observe our culture on the show, because it is called Tea Talk with Goodness. Now, it is the very first time on this show. Hey, you are welcome. We're excited to have you here. Now, let me explain what the culture is. Wherever you're watching me from, please ensure that you grab yourself a cup of tea, whether green tea, beverage, whichever one works for you, a glass of water, juice, wine, etc., etc., and sit down, relax, and watch the show with me. Okay, while I also do that quickly right now, shall we? Whew. Yeah. Many will wonder, why do we take tea on the show? Aside from the fact that it's the Tea Talk with Goodness Usman, it's also to make you just relax while you're engaging with us on the show. All right, let's get right into it. So last week we talked about how Lagos State government has given amnesty to people who do not have building approval, and it's a 90 days amnesty. And I came here to inform you guys to say, hey, get on board now. If you don't have a building approval, take cover in this duration of 90 days, which is going to expire in June. All right, so we got quite a lot of questions from that and reaction, and some of those questions are very technical. So unfortunately, the plan was that this particular episode, we're going to have a surveyor in the house to come and explain these processes in detail, technically, and also answer those questions. So we couldn't have him here, but I'm hoping that by the next episode, we could be able to have him. So he's going to answer those questions. So I'm going to leave those, your technical questions, for the professional to answer them. Like I say, it's always better to hear from a professional than me, hearing from them as a third party and telling you guys. I prefer it that way. In the previous week, we saw how the Lagos State Ministry of Environment had proceeded to Mende Villa, and they've carried out several demolition, and this has caused a whole lot of issues, raised a lot of conversations on social media, and also fear. Right. In the last episode, I mentioned it that they had already started around Ogudu area, and they were going to proceed to Ojota, Maryland, and Agege. They're going to get to Agege, etc., etc. And it's now obvious that they're moving at the speed of light with this demolition. Now, if you watch all of the videos, unfortunately, we're not able to get a site because of time constraint to show you guys the real footage. But we're going to show you a short clips from channels. So this is not our clips, this is by channels, and we're just going to show you a short clips where you see the demolition being carried out.
To the surprise of the residents, a bulldozer is already on ground to bring down the fence. Residents vent their frustration.
This is not right. This is not what we discussed. No notification, nothing. Why would you do this?
So it just makes a mockery of what the developers are trying to throw at government. How come they had access to confidential filed document of government? When I asked the question, the lawyer bolted. It's criminal. It's not fair. Which meant you have access to somebody in there and we're releasing documents, so you could as well have doctored the documents. All what we're trying to do is to defraud the state. It's a coastal state. The bridge that is running through Okwebi is a massive infrastructure that we can't hold back. Now, we have also saved like 85% of the houses in that estate. But some houses had to go for that water to move and for that infrastructure to be sustainable.
You see that the Commissioner for Environment and Water Corporation has been granting interviews, especially on channels, and is explaining what all of this is all about. Not that they had to, there were several questions. There were several questions. Now, let's look at some of these questions that I know that some of you also have in your mind. You're wondering, why is this? Why is that? Now, the first obvious one is, all of these houses that are being demolished, and they say that Ministry of Environment and Waterways says that they are trying to, avoid a disaster, which is very, very important. I mean, we can see what happened with flooding in Dubai. We heard that Kenya is also going to experience that. So they are trying to prepare themselves against global warming, right? So yes, they're trying to do everything to clear the drainage part, make sure that all of them is cleared, there's no issues. When it starts raining, we won't have flooding, which will concern multitude of Lagosians, right? So we get all of the motive behind this whole exercise. But the obvious question is, who gave the approvals for these buildings in the first place? Well, weren't these people paying land use charge? Why were they why was government collecting land use charge while these people were on the System 1 drainage right of way? So many very good questions. And I've seen several interviews with the commissioner, Mr. Tokumbo Wahab, where they asked him these questions, and would I say diplomatically, he did answer any of them. So this is what I want us to discuss on this show today. Is there a possible way that government could avoid all of these demolitions? I mean, if you listen to all of the clips we have based on his interviews, you see him saying that they've issued notice to those people. Even his predecessors had started the notices, and there were talks. They went back to the governor. The governor was looking for ways to mitigate, reduce. In fact, they reduced. This Minde Villa, that they reduced the impact. It was supposed to be way more than these houses. I think they saved 86 houses and all of that. Again, the question is there a way they would have avoided the demolition? Because now it's not as if the Lagos State governor or this particular regime or this governance is being termed the destroyer. Yes, if you watch the interviews from channels, especially, in fact, several interviews, you see him even making reference to that people are saying that, is he not a destroying governor? Is it that this government is more of a destroying government? There were so many questions. Anyways, this is what concerns us here and what I want us to critically look at, because even me personally, I have these questions. So yes, people have been sitting on System 1 right of way. They've built it a bit. The question is, what was this agencies? Because I know that in Lagos State, there are several agencies that are involved with the process of anyone building in Lagos State. Now, let me mention 6 that I've just put out. First one is LASPA. Now, LASPA is called Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority. Now, these are the agencies that will give you approval. So if you're building, you know how I told you guys to go and take amnesty under the cover of this 90 days and then get your approval, building approval. This is the agency you're going to go to. They are the one that give building approvals. They approve all building projects in Lagos State, right? And they must what? You must visit them. They have offices in different local governments actually. So whether you are redeveloping a house, you're restructuring, it's a new project, it's renovation, it's fencing, is anything you're doing that has to do with construction, even if you are demolition. So let's say you bought a old building now and you want to demolish that old building, they will be the one to give you the permits to do all of that. That's number one. Number two is last park. I hope I'm able to pronounce this there, but I'm going to give you the full meaning. Lagos State Building Control Agency. Now, these guys carry out inspection on building. So when you get your permits, these guys come into place. They'll come and inspect if the building and the certification and the clearance and blah 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 is good. And what I noticed that they say they do is that they don't do it at the initial stage. They visit this site at every stage. So maybe at your foundation stage, they'll visit. At your first level, they'll visit. At your limited, at your roofing, they are supposed rather to be visiting at various stage of building construction and then keeping records. So after you get your building approval, like I said, you need to proceed to go and meet them and then come to your site and then they inspect. So it means that at that point, at different stage, these guys should be able to come in and say, oh, this is not right, that is not right, that's right. Moving on. The third one is Lagos State Safety Commission. Yes, these guys are there, that they have a responsibility. Then another question is, do they perform this their responsibility? Anyways, they are responsible for the coordinations of all government matters relating to safety of lives and property of Lagosians. So I feel like this drainage system of way, apart from this, the environmental guys and water corporation who are in charge of this, these guys also, this Lagos State Safety Commission, are supposed to know that, oh, this building is not safe. It can't be here. It can't be that. This building is under a high tension. It should not be there. You should not, bring it down. At that beginning stage, if they truly do their job. That's number 3. Number 4 is Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory. They exist, actually. Because some people like, does that even exist? Well, they exist. And why they exist is to ensure that there's zero tolerance to building and civil engineering infrastructure collapse in Lagos. So these guys are the one, when you see a building collapse, they should question them and ask them, what have you guys been doing? Now, the 5th one is LCDA, Local Council Development Area, aka Council. These guys are also involved in so many things. And then we come to this Lagos State Environment and Water Corporation. And I think there are even more than these ones that I've listed, but these are the ones I've been able to, to grab and let's talk about them. I think there are other more agencies. And then the question that comes to your mind is, all of these agencies, what's happening with them? What I mean by what's happening with them is, aren't they, in a way, apart from Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Lands is the bigger boy, kind of, in my own way, where you prefer your title and all of that way before you even start to talk about building or construction. These agencies, it seems to be obvious that there's no communication within them. Now, why do I say that? These houses that are being demolished, you guys remember last year when they started the demolition process in Ikota here, and then I talked about this, right? And then we went to site, I was like, who is to be blamed? Is it the government agencies? Is it the routers? Is it the developers? Now, it seems to be like governments in this particular one now, they're putting it on the developers. They're saying developers were not given, the right to build to that level. So let me give you an instance. He specifically mentioned that maybe developers were given, let's say for an example, developers say that they were given the permission to build maybe 60 units of houses. They now went ahead and not only built 60, maybe they built 100. Now the other 40 is now sitting on the system 1 drainage right of way. So in that case, it is the developer to be blamed, right? Now the developer is saying that they had permission to build the 40. So the question again remains, who gives this permission? Because if I've gotten my building approval, first of all, if I've gotten my title registered with Lagos State, my survey is registered with Lagos State. Remember, you can't collect a building approval without so many things registered, so many documents. Remember the documents we listed last week? All of those has entered into the system of Lagos State government. The building approval has been given. These people have completed the building. They are living there. They are now paying land use charge, among other fees. And now we now come and say, oh, they are in the right of way for System 1 drainages. So my question is, at what point didn't any of these agencies who were supposed to do the checks during the build, before they build, they were supposed to go and do, the agencies that were supposed to go and do inspection, while they were building, the agencies that were supposed to do inspection. Is it that there's no communication within this agency? That's what I want us to look at today. Is it that all of these government agencies that is involved in safety, construction, is it that they don't have adequate data? Is it that they don't communicate? Meaning there's no master plan that they all work with? Because if I am in Ministry of Environment, for instance, and I know that these places are on System 1 drainage right of way, I feel like the building approval team, they should know about it. They should have that. So when I come as a citizen who is innocent, who do not know any of these things, when I come and say, oh, this is where I want to construct, I've gotten my C of O or governor's consent, I want you to give me approval, building approval. You say, oh, I cannot give you a building approval for this part. You have to go to this part. This is the only part you can get approval. Because when we see all of these things keep happening, people keep getting approval, building their houses, 15 years down the line, the house is demolished. So that's the question I want us to discuss today. What do you guys think? Do you think that there's no synchronization within the government agencies? Who are we going to blame? If there are no synchronization between the government agencies, who are we to blame? Is it the fault of the citizens? Or should we say the fault of, the government is the alpha and omega in a way, but then should it be like that? How do we intend to build a greater nation if within the agencies do not have synchronization, if they lack synchronization? So this is just a question. What you guys think? Please put it in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think there's no synchronization, or the way they've been going about it is good? Now, I also heard the commissioner say that you are supposed to, so apparently, when you're building in Lagos, all of these agencies I mentioned and many more, you're supposed to go to visit every one of them. I've heard him say that. And that's where they are running it actually. But I feel like, shouldn't there be a way that there would be a sync, in terms of running a database? Now back to the cocoa where it concerns you as an investor who has invested in properties in Lagos, who is intending to build or you have built. First of all, let me remind you, still go and take cover, okay? I've listed the things you need to have. For those of you who are saying that provisional survey, there's nothing called provisional survey. Provisional survey does not exist. It's like you're having a paper that is not stamped in a way. It's like I'm married now, and under the law, I'm not legally married. They don't identify me. That's the way provisional survey is. It's provisional. It's just provisional. It cannot be used for anything apart from your own piece. It's just a piece of information for you, the owner. But when you're going to now register it under the state, it's not recognized. So it has to be a registered survey. Okay, you can't use the provisional survey to get your building approval. So you must get all of those things together. Tax clearance. Yes, I remember somebody asked for tax clearance for those in diaspora. There are ways where you just need to get in touch with a tax person. Okay, when you get a tax person, the person will advise you how to go about it. For you that are Nigerian in diaspora or in Nigeria, there are processes to these things. You need to get tax. Do you even have a tax card? Do you pay monthly? Do you, they will tell you how it works for you that you're living abroad. Maybe you bring your own tax that you're paying over there and just pay a stipend here or something. But there is a process to that. So all you can do is to get a taxman, because I don't want to be quoted for something that is not my specific feed. I can only give you, ideas on how to go about it, but I can't tell you the A to Z of it. Right. So please go and do the needful. I'm back here saying it. Go and do the needful so we can avoid stories that touch. And hey, when you're doing it, now we know, since there's no, I don't know, you just have to visit these agencies to be sure of where your property is, what's happening, so that what happened in Mende will not happen in the future. Because, like I said, they said that some of these things are the fault of developers, okay, who develop these things and then go overboard. Well, that also is, I mean, it can be true because, I mean, again, developers can be over ambitious. But again, the question, there's so many questions actually. So yeah, let's just leave it at that. Lastly, when demolitions happen like this, the other question is, will those with the right document, even though we know that there's no synchronization or there's a whatever it is that is happening within these agencies, within the government themselves, now that they can prove that XYZ people have the right documents and permits, what will happen to them? Is there going to be a compensation for that? And when will this compensation happen? Just like the current Lekki Coastal Road now. They said they've approved money for compensation. And how long, when they start disbursing, we have no idea. But they said they're going to start very soon. So if they're going to be compensated people, we all say that when you have the right document, right permit, it's better you have the right document, right permit, because when they now come and for some reason they adjust. So one thing I've learned about the government is that because they have a heart that says that the government own all the land, it just makes it easy for them to wake up one day and change these things. So a developer might have, or an individual might have the right thing, the right permit, the right whatever, visit the right agency, do the proper thing at a time. And then years down the line, they decide to change it for some reasons, maybe political, maybe personal, whatever it is. And then it's not affecting this person or this set of people who have done the right thing. So yeah, at that point, because you have also done the right thing when you were supposed to do the right thing, you will be getting compensated. Now, how fast, how easy that compensation is another question on its own. But let's not forget, it is important to always, always, always do the right thing. So yes, that's it today. Let's discourse. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. What do you guys think about these agencies? If you know other agencies that I didn't mention, put it in the comment section. Let's enlighten ourselves. Let's get to, stay informed. And hey, right now, you as an investor, you need to get to know all of this information. It is very, 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 very critical. Even if you bought your house 5 years ago or 10 years ago, start asking the right questions and start taking the right action. And I pray that Nigerian does not happen to any one of us, because sometimes when it does happen, I mean, I sympathize with all of those that recently have been rendered homeless, unfortunately. And I know that Lagos State government has the best interest at heart for the citizens of Lagos. We're just hoping that they will have a soft, a way to cushion all of these things. Yes, because if I have done everything right and then you come down the line and come and render me homeless in a place I've lived for years, I'm sure the government, they will do something, and may God also send help to those who need help. If there's a way you can help someone be around you, please help them. Thank you so much for today's episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Please share this video, the previous one, to someone you know. Let them stay informed with what is happening in Lagos right now. And thank you so much for watching.